Hey, welcome to the Ozzstar channel. I'm Glenn, and on today's fun project, we're going to talk about scan tools. Well, one scanner in particular, this one here right behind me. So this scan tool here is a little bit of what you would call an advanced, maybe DIYer or even a professional mechanic at a smaller shop. And what's important to know is not one scan tool does it all. So if you're interested in buying a scanner to check the codes in your car, you can just get a basic one, like this. I mean, some of these, here's one up here in my box. Some of these are, I think they're down to like 20 to 50 bucks. And they're code readers, they call them, and they work good. And they'll let you know if the monitors are ready for inspection and such. But anyway, this is an advanced tool, and I went through a lot of, I don't know if you call it agony, but mental misery to trying to decide which one to buy. By the way, I did buy this. This video is not sponsored. I'm not paid to do it. In fact, over here I have my receipt for this tool. I paid $1,129 right there. So it is a big decision, and if you're working on a lot of cars, you need a tool that can give you bi-directional control. And this one's an Autel, there's Launch is another good one for the money. So the value for what you get. So some scan tools do programming, some don't. Some have bi-directional control, if you don't know what that is, meaning from this little tool right here, you can actually control different features on the functions on the car. You could be testing, let's say, a vent valve or a purge solenoid, or even on newer cars, the modules that control power windows, wipers, everything. So it's very handy. Never mind, your normal fuel trim numbers and stuff like that. They call those PIDs. So what we'll do is we'll talk about this tool and we'll demonstrate it. I'll fire it up on one car. I've tried it now on about 9 different vehicles, and I really do like the tool. There was only one car, it was on a Nissan, on a Maxima, where I could not get it to connect. The others I had no problem connecting. Now, to be fair, that car, I have probably about 5 scan tools, and I think only 1 or 2 will actually, for some reason, I don't know what it is, won't connect or communicate is what the term really is, with that car. So other than that, it works good. We'll talk about some of the features, the pros and the cons. I'm overall glad that I made the decision to buy this one. Like I said, the price for what you get is really good compared to, let's say, like a $10,000 Snap-on. That's extremely expensive. So there's good value there. Some of the features that this one has is bi-directional. Like I said, you can control different features of the car on the car. Now, you can buy scan tools. I'm looking over here at my box for my other scan tool. There's, I say, $100 to $200. You can buy little handheld ones that actually give you the PIDs, the fuel trim numbers, mass airflow data, all kinds of data. Live data is what you want. Now, this thing here, you're going to be able to check things like the wheel speed sensors and all that stuff. And by the way, here it is here. I still have the protective screen on, so it looks a little scratchy, but it's really not. It's really nice. It fits. It feels good in hand. It's solid. This is an 8-inch screen. This is the MS906BT, and the Maxisys lineup of scan tools from Autel. And I went with the BT, which stands for Bluetooth, and you get this separate dongle. So this is what actually connects or hooks into the OBD port. And actually what's kind of cool is there's a button here. It's got a little light. You see that? So if it's dark under the dashboard, it's not much of a light, but it gives you enough where, it helps you make the connection. I paid a little extra for that because I didn't want the cord. So if you want a wired connection, like this kind of deal here where you just plug it in, you got this set up, you can probably save yourself $100 or $200 on this particular model. You just get the MS906 and you're done. But anyway, there's also a model, I think it's called the TS, and that one has the TPMS, well, what do you call it? Not information, but the technology to program the tire pressure monitor sensor. I did not get that, and the reason I didn't is because I'd rather have a separate unit And when the technology changes, I can change that much more easily. Where here, it would kind of be built in. Now, there are updates. So when you buy an Autel, and I got it from a U.S. Company, I guess you could call it. I didn't buy it. You know, of course, they're made in China, but I bought it here in the U.S., so it's supported by that. And the neat feature with it, you know, having bought it here, is I get the 1-year warranty. I also get 1 year free updates. So if you buy the scan tool, that's really important to constantly, there's new technology coming out, you want to be able to update. Now after that 1 year, I think it goes to like $400 or $500. So let's say I bought this, I had it now about a month. So I bought it December. This is a 2019 model. So I have 1 year to update it. Now, if you bought it now, you're buying a 2020 model. This is January 2020. And, you know, it'll go into 21. But that's my point. If you're working on a 2020 car, you know, in my case, you see where I'm going. So you want to update it every couple of years, I'd imagine. What else could I say about it? I was thinking, oh yeah, speaking of Autel, I called their customer service the other day. I had several questions. They were technical questions, and they were very informative and helpful. I want to say, I mean, I was on hold for quite a bit, and they actually had to leave a message, and they called me back though, which is a good thing. So there is customer support here in the U.S., which was something that was important to me to make sure I could get help if I needed it. So anyway, I got it fired up. Let me show you this here real quick. Maybe show you some of the features. So you've got, let me get in here. Oops, sorry about that. Try to get the glare out of there. But you know, you've got the diagnostic functions, and come on, don't make a fool out of me. Now my hands are freezing. Maybe that's what it is. Let's go to history, and you can see some of the vehicles here that I have worked on. And if they have a fault code, let's see, what's this, a 97 F-150. And what's cool about this, you have this history. So it gives you the VIN number, the vehicle, and basically any codes that it may have had, fault codes, and this is all stored in a memory. So that's a feature that I really do like about it. It's fairly easy to navigate through the screens here. What else? Here's an easy, you hit this, there's an update button, like we were just saying. I'm sorry, my hands are so cold out here. It's like 25 today. It's not working too well. But so these are different models that can be updated now. That's pretty easy. Of course, I've got it Wi-Fi hooked up. You hooked it, I set it up to deal with my Wi-Fi. Here is the shop manager is kind of neat, because you can go to the vehicle histories, which we just saw. You've got workshop information, and then customer management, if I can open it. So, which I don't have anything in there right now, but you can store information for different customers and their cars. Here's a support button. The remote desk is pretty neat. The guy got into it yesterday to try to check out something on the Bluetooth with me, and I'll tell you about that in a second. So they can remotely get in here and help you sort out a problem. Remote diagnosis is with other people that have Maxisys. If your friend or your coworker has another unit and he's in another location, you can actually connect. They can get into your computer, I believe scanner, and you can get in theirs. I plan on doing a video on that in the future, and hopefully we'll see that coming soon. And then there's information as far as, it's basically like a forum where if you have questions and you just want to do it online, you can do that. I'm not sure what I just hit there. Let's go back here. Where is the... Oh, here, I might as well talk about that. You got MaxiScope. You can get an Autel scope, oscilloscope if you want, that connects to this. And they also have a digital inspection camera, which is optional, which I did not get. I have those two things separate. But anyhow, here's a quick link. So if you're a tech and you need to get to Identifix or Mitchell or All Data, you can do that real quick, just hitting that button, boom. And let's just say we're going to go to Mitchell. So you would just hit that. Now this does have, is it Explorer? I think it's a Droid operating system. So you can go online and look this up. But this is just like a fast, quick way. I hope that glare isn't messing you up too much. A quick way to get online and get that information you might need. What else do we have? The VCI is this is the Bluetooth setup. So it's very easy. I paired the Bluetooth up with this unit right out of the box. And what it does, and I'll show you what comes in the case back there. By the way, it doesn't look big there, but the thing's gigantic. There's a cable when you initially get it. So there's a USB. Whoa, almost dropped the new mama. Look out. There's a USB plug in the back which plugs into the USB port at the top here. So they can connect that way. And that was fairly simple. And setting up the Wi-Fi was pretty easy. Now the Bluetooth, I set the Bluetooth up to work with my cell phone. And what's neat about that is you can send files back and forth. So for instance, let me go to, where's the history here? See, I'm new to this, so bear with me. Bear with me here. I want to show you an example. Oh, where could we go here? Data manager. Okay, so we go to our data manager, depending on where you're from. And we have, when you're in a car and you're scanning equipment, you can save, obviously, the files or what you're looking at. So let's go to this GM right here. What's this one right here? So I took a look at this, my buddy's Buick Enclave. And what's awesome about this tool that I really like is the vehicle diagnostic report that you can do, which is very informative. It's got the VIN, the car. You can put the mileage and the owner's information in there. And you see all the modules on the left and what passed, what faults, if any, there were. So like this remote control door receiver had 4 faults. So, and of course you can go in and clear it, but the report is nice. And you had this P2099 post catalyst fuel trim system high. So that O2 sensor was just limited out. So I'm not sure. I didn't diagnose the car. I just told him what the codes were. That's what he wanted. But anyway, it's really neat. So what I like about it, and what's very helpful, is you can have that, save that data, or if you set up your printer, and I happen to have it printed right here, you can print the report and you can give it to the owner of the car, which is really cool. So you have a documentation of when the car came in, what issues there were, and if you're doing a repair and you fix something, something else can go wrong. You won't be responsible for it. At least you'll have proof that there was an issue there. So that's one thing. Now this does have a little stand on the back, and it's a camera. So I think I mentioned the screen's 8 inches, and it's got this little stand which comes in handy. Now, something that's been bugging me with this thing is the cons of it is the dongle, which, you know, it's small. You could easily forget it or lose it, I guess, but there's no holder. So I think some of the lower grade models have some kind of now let me know down in the notes below if there's an optional like case or something to put this in to store it, because you're always holding them separately. It was a little tricky for me to get the printer. I have a wireless printer set up to print through here. So you would think you just hit a button and it sends a signal to the printer and it prints. It doesn't work like that, at least the way I had it set up. I actually have this tied in with my laptop, and what I will do is eventually, if there's any interest here, I'll do several videos on how to set this up and basically how to use it more efficiently, because it took me a lot of time to research this, to find this information. It's not, you know, it's out there, but it's kind of scarce. So basically what you do is you set this up, and with your laptop you have the Autel software. I can't think offhand what it's called right now, but you install software on your laptop. So, and you can also manage updates and stuff through that software. But what you're doing is you're sending a signal from this tool to the laptop, and the laptop sends it to your printer to print. So once you have it all set up, it's, you know, it's a done deal, it's cake. Why don't we open the case up now, and I'll show you what the tool comes with when you buy the kit, I guess you call it. It's really huge. Let me show you how big this sucker is. So I'm not that small, but this thing is pretty giant. I'd say it's at least 2 feet wide, probably 1.5 feet tall. So it's a hard plastic case, and we lay this down so we don't have any spillage. There we go. And I'll zoom you. Hopefully that's not gonna fall off the bench. I'll just kind of zoom you in over here. Let me loosen this up. Oh boy, come on. There we go. There it is. All right. That's good. That'll work. Put you up a little bit. Oops. Okay, so the tool stores on this side here. There's some Velcro strap where this tool sits, down into here, and it comes, of course, with a manual and all the, warranty information that you need. And what's nice is these straps lock it in place. Your dongle sits here in the center, and then over here are some adapters. So you get a charging cord, charge that battery up. There's a USB, the small one to the big one, which you would use with the dongle or to hook it to your laptop if you want to transfer information. And what else is in here? And by the way, this side here just is big. It's probably for the next size up. This is the 906. The 908 is the next model up. It's a bigger screen. I think that has a 10-inch screen. And then they give you a cigarette lighter adapter. So if your battery runs low and you're in the car, you can plug it in and charge it that way or keep it going. So that's what you get on that side. And up here are some adapters. So let me show you this. I think this adapter kit separately is about 150 bucks. So you got BMW, Chrysler, Mercedes-Benz, VW, Audis here, Hyundai. So what's funny is, Honda, Kia, Nissan. Here's the here's the Daewoo GM. So if anybody knows about cars, or knows about working on cars, pre-96, so 95 and the older to the 80s, late 80s, I guess you had OBD1. And that's a 12-pin, DTC, connector. So you had 12 pins, and the newer ones have 16. That's what we're used to these days, OBD2. So what you can do is you take your modern, 16, plug it in here, converts it to 12, plug it into OBD1, and you're off, to the races. Of course, the information is received a little different, the data, because it's OBD1 technology, but it's there, it has a computer. So I got excited. I hooked this to my dongle, I put the dongle right back in here, plug that into that, and then plug this in the car, and I'm not getting much. So I'm like, what's going on? Well, when I pull up the data, it only goes back to 1996 to present day 2020, we're at OBD2. So that's why I called Autel the other day and asked them what's up. And none of the Maxisys tools, which are these nice, more expensive scan tools, support OBD1. So I was kind of bummed out about that because you guys that watch my videos know I have a 93 Corvette, and I have to use the little Actron over there to pull, if I don't have too many codes in there, but codes or look at fuel trim numbers when it works. It's kind of sketchy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, I'm kind of bummed out. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves about the tool so far. You guys can see me. All right, let me bring this up. And no OBD1. So if you're looking to use this on OBD1, it ain't going to happen. It's just, I don't know, I don't understand why the adapter's in there. Now, I haven't tried it on an older BMW or an Audi or, Ford. No, they didn't have the Ford adapter in there, but maybe those work. I'm not sure. I can't say. All I can tell you is it doesn't support General Motors. So OBD1, no go on that. What else could I tell you? I think that's about it. The, once you get it set up, it's good to go. Now on the newer cars, like the 15, I don't know why it looks like you guys are leaning down over there. The newer vehicles, you know, the 13 and up, you're gonna have a lot more information, a lot more modules. I hooked it up to my 18 Corvette Grand Sport. I think there was at least 20 modules that it saw. So it's pretty cool, the technology. Now, what's also nice about this, let's keep that in mind. That's something I didn't mention, it's kind of important. This has some programming capabilities. So let's say you install, I don't know, a new mass airflow or a new throttle body and it needs to be programmed, or some module, a window module, you know, it depends on the vehicle. It doesn't do it all, so you got to keep that in mind. Let me show you another feature that I really like on here where you can record live data. So if you hit this review data, and let's go to this Ford, this was an 05 van I worked on. So right here we were diagnosing a bad wheel speed sensor, and what you can do is this is all pre-recorded and you can see the values as I scroll along here. But you can open this up. Oop, we don't need to hit that. Just open this and graph it. So even after the fact, now what we're watching is this top sensor here had an issue. Wheel speed sensor right there is our issue. You could see the dropouts. So this is really cool how you can go back and kind of play and open this up. So these two were normal, the right front and the rear. And I'll have a video out on that if I haven't put it out yet. But you can see this left front had big problems. And just by moving this bar along here, we can see the different data. So when you get back to the shop, you can look these things over. If you're going down the road, you don't have to worry about, you know, taking your eyes off and crashing a car. That wouldn't be a good thing. So that's just something I want to show you. And then there's also image, which is just pictures, screen captures. And let's just say we wanted to open this up. I don't know what it is. We'll just tap it, open it up, and I happen to have this page up and took a picture, you know, screen capped it. So that way you can go back and look at it. I mean, you don't have to have your cell phone to take a picture of a picture. Anyway, so it's very handy. And like I say, you could scroll through these are all different screen captures I've taken of live data while I was working on the vehicle. So that's a nice feature to have too. And this vehicle management, well, what's neat about this is BMW, I guess the Euro cars, BMW, Volkswagen, well, here's an Asian Hyundai. They have a lot of software where they have constant updates. I guess this tool has a lot of information for those cars. And up here, you can put a 16 gigabyte mini, not here, where is it? Where's the little slot? Oh, I'm sorry, it's under here. I'm looking behind the camera, right here. Right back in there, you put a little SD card in there and you can save this information to the SD card. So that way you only get 32 gigabytes of memory. Not only, that's a lot, but these particular cars use a lot of memory. So if you save it to the SD card, that frees up the hard drive and gives you more room. So that's also a nice feature to have. So why don't I take the tool outside? I got a 16 F-150 out there. Why don't we hook that up and plug in and check it out, and we'll see how it works in real life. All right, so let's get in the truck here. Let me hook the dongle up to the OBD. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, but there it is right there. Just hit the little light. Plug this in, and we get an automatic audible connection. Now, what should happen is when we turn on our scan tool, let me get that down here. Actually, our scan tool is on, it's just in hibernation. Let me hit that, let me open that up. And then we hit the little M here for the menu. And then what we're gonna do is, as soon as we turn that on, the blue light came on, that means we have Bluetooth connectivity now. So these two are connected. So we'll go, let me put the key in. Oh, let me go back. Let me put the key in first. Turn the ignition on. Actually, I'll get in the truck so we don't have to hear the door chime. Sorry about the shaky camera. Try to keep it to a minimum here. Set you up right there. Shut my door, it's cold out. All right, so the ignition is on. And let me shut the fan off. We don't have to hear that. There we go. So we're going to hit Diagnostics. And what we can do is we can go to Vin Auto Detect, which is cool because that should, especially on a 16, that should find our VIN number here. I'm just going to do it in real time. You can put information in. You could put, like, I don't know, Ozzstar's truck or something. But we'll go standalone. Okay. That way you can identify it. Let me get a comfortable spot here. Let's get rid of that water bottle. There we go. Alright, that's better for me. Automatic selection. That is our VIN. And now we'll let it do its, do its thing. It'll load up. Trying to get the glare out for you. So it is a 2016. And that's our truck right there, 5-liter V8. Yes. And what I want to do is, I'm not going to bore you guys with all the features. There's just too much to get into. And I hope in the future I'll make some videos if there's interest on what you can do. There's so much to do. I don't know it all here. I don't know everything this thing can do. I was playing with it, and that's all you basically got to do. You got to get some experience at it. I guess the more you use it and play around with it, the more familiar you get with it. So with the tool itself and where you need to go to find information like the data or the controls, different modules. So this should be pretty much loading up, and what I expect is after this gets to where it needs to start putting the modules in, and it'll just start going through each one individually all the way down. And being a newer vehicle, it's going to have a lot. So any second now we'll speed her up if we have to. Otherwise it'll be story time with Glenn, and I don't know if YouTube will let me tell my stories here. Tell on myself. So let's go to Diagnosis. So we have all these different things. Like, it's really cool. The hot functions, the service, programming, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's just start with the basic, what everybody really wants to do is, and then we can auto scan. That's where we'll go. Now you can go to these individual modules, control units they call it, but this is going to go through and check every single one. And let's see what we get here. Alright, so we got 19 modules here, and a couple came up with some faults. So, we could start up with the PCM. That's going to be our engine, basically, engine stuff. But I want to see this front control interface module. Let's see. Now what you can do is to open that, there's a little like play button thing. Let's hit that. And let's go in there and see what kind of faults we have. Let's go to read codes. It's doing some self-tests. It just turned on the dashboard lights, and you heard the chime come on. I'm hearing some of the flapper motors moving. Okay, what did we get here? Lost communication. Somehow it had lost communication. Data received. Okay, so I'll have to look this up later. I don't know if this is a big deal or not. The truck's running fine. So what I'll do is I want to save this. So I think I showed you a sample of this before, but let's go to save this page. And you could put in here, we'll put in, I don't know, let's call it 16 F-150. That's good enough. And then we'll hit save. Oh, file information, and then it's we'll put fault codes. Okay, and then save. Saving successful. So that's done. We can get out of there. So I can go back later and check that and see what's going on, if anything. But there's active tests. Let's just, since we got a fault there, let's just see what's what. Just to show you some of the capabilities
I don't want the video to be too long, just to give you some idea. So you can check for, you know, the blend door positions, blower motor speed, you know, in this example. So this is all the stuff you can do with bidirectional control. Let's see blower motor speed. You should be able to fire up the blower motor here. So right now it's 0%. Let's increase it and listen. Oh, it'd help if I turned it on. I gotta turn the module on. So there, it's turned on now. We got it up. Let's increase it. Let's jack it up. So let's say you're testing a blower motor. You weren't sure if it was the motor or you weren't getting power there. So then we'll just decrease it. So let's bring it down. Bring it down to what, 20% is the lowest. Oop, 0%. So there you go. I just had to make sure it was on, and then we can control it that way. So that's some of the cool things you can do with that. Let me shut this off so we don't hear it. Escape out of that. And we can test the flapper motors and all that other good stuff. So let's go up to the engine, or engine to the PCM. And let's get some live data. So I'm going to show you guys that, because everybody needs live data in their life, or data. Alright, here we go. So we should be getting some live data here soon. So here it is. And it starts up, they're alphabetical, starts with AC, scrolls all the way through here. So let's just play with it for a second. Of course, the engine's off. Here's accelerator pedal position. So I'm going to step on the, you can't see my foot down there, but I'm going to step on the accelerator and we should see a reaction here. So there you go. And let's say, I don't know, we wanted to graph it so we can visually see it. There's different sensors on that pedal. And I'm going to just floor it right now. So there we go. We can see the reaction, we can see the results, the data, and it can help us diagnose an issue. You know, it's really cool. So let me minimize these down. You just hit this A, and when you hit A, it minimizes it down. Let's go scroll through here. Let's check, like, let me find some fuel trim numbers. Let's go to like short term. I don't know if it's in closed loop yet. There's so much. Look at all this stuff. I mean, I'm probably scrolling too fast. Fuel tank pressures. You know, you got an evap code or something like that. How much the fuel pump's putting out. It's amazing what this thing can tell you here. There's your heated O2 sensors. There's injector faults. You know, you can pinpoint. You can go to misfire. I believe this. There's more to that. Let me just find. Boy, there's our long-term fuel trim. Let's put that down. Like the oop. And the most common would be short-term. There's our O2 sensor stuff. Where's short-term? Okay, here we go. There's our short-term. Then you click this little on top button and it puts them all up here. I don't need the air conditioning compressor. I don't know what that's doing. I hit it by accident. Okay, and then if you want, you can just graph these. So you hit show. Let's start the truck. Okay. And as soon as this warms up a minute here, we should see some reaction. Like I said, the engine's cold. There you go. So that's really neat. And then same thing, we can graph this. Let's say we don't like that kind of graph. That glare is terrible. Let me see, we can do this kind of graph. What else we got? We got the bar kind of graph right there. So you can do that to both of them if you want. We want to be around 0. Let's watch it, and we can slow down the speed. just hitting that little X right there. So that's kind of cool. Give it a little goose. Really nice. So there's so many different things that you can check, and some of it, you know, the truck or car might not have, but here's the instrument cluster, airbag stuff, all kinds of amazing stuff. So let's escape out of that. Here's the hot functions button. Let me show you that real quick. So let's say you want to set the steering angle after an alignment, your electric parking brake. This one doesn't have that. Here's that battery monitoring. So if you put a new battery in, you need to reset that. Here's our, you can go right to the TPMS right there. This one has the power balance test, which is pretty cool on the Fords. That's something Ford has. You can do the power balance test. We're not going to do it right now, but to check the cylinder function, you know, if you got a misfire, might help you find it. We'll get out of that. So oil reset after you do an oil change, all that cool stuff. Here's some programming. So I guess this is all stuff we could do for programming. We're not going to be doing any of it right now, so let's get out of that. But just wanted to show you guys, you know, that it does. Let's click OK. It may have to go through. Let's put no. See, it wants us, we can actually program in the VIN. But you got all these different parameters here we can do. Let's put no. Let's escape. So there's a lot that this can do. All right, so that's just a whole bunch of stuff. Exit the current model, yes. And we can get out of that. Yes, we want to exit. We could also saved that information, and it tells you to remove the VCI, which is your vehicle connector there, your dongle right there. So after that beeps, so you don't leave it in the car by accident, just pull that out and you're all set.
Well, I hope the video was helpful to you if you're trying to decide, you know, should you get a bi-directional tool and what scan tool to get and what brand. I know it can be challenging. I'm telling you, it was almost like I was signing my life away by the time I finally made a decision and pulled the trigger. I'm very happy that I got this model. I definitely like the Bluetooth feature. That's probably one of my favorites because you don't have that wire. You can work on the car, you can walk around the car and still do what you need to do without that interference. So if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them down below. If you have a scan tool, let me know what you're using. How do you like it? I could have went with, let's say, something comparable to this is the Launch. That's, what do they call it? The X431V, the Pro model. I think it's very comparable in the technology and the price point of this one. I'm sure it does things that this one doesn't do, and this one does some things that that one doesn't do. Like I said earlier in the video, no scan tool does it all. Don't think because you spent a whole bunch of money on a tool, it's just gonna fix your car. First of all, you've got to get educated. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have the tools and the experience to fix a car. And sometimes you need this type of technology to do it. And sometimes it's just the only way to go. I mean, you got to have it. Now, you can still do old school. You know, you don't have to have one of these. If you have a smaller scan tool that has the live data with those PIDs, and you can get a lot done with that. An oscilloscope's always helpful, and of course a voltmeter. We can all be dangerous with that. So thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you checking out the video. Leave any comments or questions down below. Smash that little red button down there. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And other than that, I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.